A pig. This is my little brother George.
No.
This is Mummy Pig. Daddy.
No.
Daddy Pig. Little brother George.
No.
George.
No.
George. Little brother Peppa Pig.
No.
Mr Dinosaur is
Not really.
Mr Dinosaur.
What?
Mr Dinosaur is
Never mind, Peppa.
George's favourite George is Mr. George.
Hi.
Mr. Dinosaur.
Grrr.
Sometimes George does not love Peppa.
Grrr.
1 hour later. 5 hours later. 1 eternity later. 3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
No.
Problem.
A dinosaur, Mr. Supper Time, sits next to Peppa, sits next to George, sits next to Peppa, sits next to...
I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon? Was that you, George? Or was it you, George? Or was it Mr.
Peppa?
Or was it you, George? Was that you, George?
Dinosaur.
Not on the list. Have another guess.
No.
Not on the list.
Was that you, George?
It's not funny.
At bath time, George does not know when bath time shares his bath time. At bath time, George shares his bath time, tucked up with bath time.
What time is it?
It's time for
Bath time.
Good night, Peppa.
good night, Mummy.
OMG Peppa and Mummy are total liars. Look at the sky, it is day.
Good night, George.
Grrr.
When George goes to bed, George shares his...
Grrr.
When George goes to bed, George goes to bed.
Surprise!
George's favourite supper is dinosaur.
What?
George's favourite supper is dinosaur.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no, 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 no! Whee!
2,000 years later.
It's not funny. It's not funny.
Daddy Pig and Daddy Pig are playing Daddy Pig and Daddy Pig and Daddy Pig.
It's not funny. I win, Daddy!
Oh, ridiculous. Done, Peppa. George?
OMG, I am totally not George, your own son. How could you even ask that?
George? 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 What's George?
George is my little brother George. It's not funny.
It is a bit funny.
George has lost Mr. Dinosaur.
George? Have you lost Mr. Dinosaur?
No.
George has not lost Mr. Dinosaur.
You, George, have lost Mr. Dinosaur?
George has lost Mr. Dinosaur.
Don't find Mr. Dinosaur, George. We'll worry, George. Mr. Dinosaur, we'll die.
It's a job for George.
Grrr. Daddy, what is a daddy?
A
Daddy!
detective is a very important person who is good at finding things.
Have you seen Daddy Pig? He can't find Daddy Pig.
I can't see anything. A very important person who is a very, very important person who is very, very important, who is very, very good at finding a very, very, very important person who...
Me! I'm good at finding. Me! But we can't find. Me!
Me!
All right, Peppa is...
Me!
All right, Peppa is the very important person who is ridiculous.
Oh dear. Now what can we do?
I suppose I'll just have to... Ridiculous. Peppa, this is ridiculous.
George? George?
George?
I'm Peppa Pig. I will help you find Peppa Pig, but we can't find Peppa Pig. We will not find Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig.